Hello, my name is Larissa and I go by Snow's Art on Instagram. Today I will show you my way of how to paint a galaxy. For this tutorial I will use the 72 half pan watercolor set, the watercolor paper, the water tank brushes and the white gel pen by Art and Fly. And I will use a flat brush, acrylic paint and tape from the dollar store. So, let's get started! The first thing I do before painting is to tape down the paper to prevent extreme buckling. Now I'm going to soak my paper with water. This allows me to blend my colors much easier. To activate the watercolors, I use a water spray bottle, which I also got from the dollar store. And even though I'm using the water tank brushes, I prefer dipping them in my water cups anyways. I'm painting my galaxies by going from the darker colors to the brighter ones at the beginning. So for the first layer, I'm blocking in where I want my dark, mid-toned and bright colors to be. Even though I'm roughly blocking them in, I want to make sure that they are already blending into each other. After I laid down all the colors, I'm going to let the first layer dry. For the second layer, I'm using the red on dry technique. I'm starting from the bottom and build my way up to the top. Details are also roughly painted in. At the end, I will use black paint to darken up the edges and blend it in with the colors of the second layer, since they are still wet. After the second layer has dried, I will paint the third layer, starting on the edges. For the third layer, I use way more water and way more paint than I used for the first two layers, just to intensify the values even more. I'm kind of dipping the colors into each other, so I don't really activate the first layers with heavy brush strokes, if that makes sense to anyone. For the next layer, I make sure that the last layer hasn't completely dried and use a smaller brush than I did before because I will paint the details now. With details, I mean just those little lines. I use darker colors and go paint the lines in brighter areas and blend them slightly out. Doing this will make your galaxies look more interesting and give it these spacey vibes. And now to the stars. I mixed white acrylic paint with a lot of water and dipped in my brush and tapped with another brush on it to create them. After this, I'm going to use the white gel pen to add more stars on areas where I think there could be some more stars. And that's it. Just remove your tape and you're done. To prevent ripping your paper, you can slightly heat the tape up with a hairdryer at first and then it should come off pretty easy. This was my first ever tutorial and I hope that it was helpful and that you like it. Thank you so much for watching.